Tonight, a teenager charged with rape at a Broken Hill high school, and Port Lincoln takes to the water in the latest protest against oil drilling.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Casey Treelaw begins now.
Good evening. A Broken Hill High School student has been charged with raping a teenage girl during class time. The 15-year-old boy allegedly sexually assaulted a female classmate during a physical education lesson earlier this month. Patrick Reinke has the details.
It's alleged the teenage boy sexually assaulted a girl in a gymnasium at one of the city's high schools during a PE class. Police say the attack happened on Tuesday the 5th of March. Detectives from the Child Abuse and Sex Crime Squad commenced an investigation shortly after finding out about it. The story was first reported in an article in the Daily Telegraph's Sunday edition. The article says teachers from the school, which 7 Spencer Golf News has chosen not to name, didn't know about the alleged rape until after it was reported to police. No explanation has been given as to how the attack could have happened when the students should have been under teacher supervision. On Monday last week, the 15-year-old boy was arrested and taken to Broken Hill Police Station. In a statement, the New South Wales Department of Education said, as the matter is before the courts, it would be inappropriate for the department or the school to comment any further. They say extensive support and counselling has been provided to those affected. Now, the boy has been charged with aggravated sexual assault of a victim under the age of 16, and he's due to appear in Children's Court on March 26.
Notorious Snowtown killer Robert Wagner has appeared in court for the first time in over a decade, requesting to be granted a release date. Mr. Wagner was forced to represent himself after he was refused taxpayer funding to pay a lawyer in his Supreme Court action. He says he claims he needs a parole period because prison officers are intercepting his mail. Wagner pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder and was convicted of several more in 2003. Thousands of protesters around Australia took to the ocean on their boards yesterday in the Fight for the Bight campaign. Port Lincoln showing its own support with the community voicing their concerns about proposed oil drilling in the Great Australian Bight.
It's a message chanted across the nation as hundreds around the country fight back against Equinor's plans to drill for oil in the Great Australian Bight.
Local sentiment is really building against drilling in the Great Australian Bight.
Crowds listening to speakers about protecting the ocean and the effects a potential oil spill could have. Organisers say having protests throughout the country shows the growing movement against oil production in the Bight.
Having numbers here is the only way we're going to get recognised further and wider in the community, whether that's state government, federal government.
Protesters making signs and banners in an effort to have their voices heard.
There's no chance at all that it can be 100% risk-free, and we've just got to stand up against it.
Many fearful of what an oil spill could mean.
Never recover here, we'd lose the industries that we have.
Students from the local high school speaking at the event, a sign for organisers that the environment will always be fought for.
That's the movement's future. So this could pan out over a number of years, and to have kids that passionate at that age about this topic, they'll be the ones running these events.
Equinor's deadline for public feedback will end this Wednesday.
We just have to stand up against these big multinational companies.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A stolen boat and trailer was recovered on the weekend after being taken last Thursday near Port Lincoln. The 4.6-metre aluminium boat was parked on a trailer on the side of the Lincoln Highway where it was taken. It wasn't until a local Cummins man found the missing boat dumped and stripped in Coppio, 30 kilometres away from where it went missing. Thieves painting over the boat's name and number before ditching it in scrubland. Police are still urging anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. The state opposition is calling for the return of mineral exploration grants. Labor MP Eddie Hughes says our region could lose job opportunities to other parts of the country unless the industry is supported.
It's a jewel in the state's mining crown. Oz Minerals' Carrapateena copper mine north of Port Augusta is primed for $2 billion worth of investment by 2023. The first drilling on site was partially funded by the state government through the PACE program.
Look below the sedimentary rock that we've got here in South Australia to see what welfare lies below.
Funding ran out last year, with the incoming Liberal government declining to reinvest in it at last year's budget. Mr Hughes says the government must immediately reverse that cut, saying jobs and development in our region are at stake.
Pace was important for regional South Australia. The return to government has been huge.
However, the mining minister says Labor only has itself to blame.
We came into government in March last year and the previous government's funding ran out.
And he can't guarantee it'll return at the next budget, saying there's some work to do.
I need to work with the Treasurer to find some new money for this program.
Rebecca Knoll from the Chamber of Mines and Energy says SA is the only state without a funding program. She says our region could lose out on these valuable economic opportunities to more supportive states.
Investors will go to jurisdictions where there is an incentive to explore.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Oraro's pipe dream of fresh drinking water has become a reality, with the Mid-North town making the switch over to mains water. Last Wednesday marked the completion of a 36-kilometre pipeline replacing the town's groundwater supply.
A refreshing toast to progress. 300 customers in the mid-north town of Orroroo have quenched their thirst for cleaner H2O, with SA Water finalising its instalment of a $12 million pipeline.
Switched over the township of Orroroo from the old borefield through to a connection from Peterborough and the Morgan water filtration plant.
For residents in Orroroo, turning on the taps for the first time couldn't have tasted sweeter, with the town waiting more than 50 years to make the change.
First time that this proposal was mooted in council was back in the 1960s, so it's been coming for some time.
Residents have had constant issues with previously tapped groundwater, causing damage to hot water services.
I was speaking to one of our local tourism business operators only last week, and he said that he has become very accustomed to keeping a spare hot water service on hand at all times.
But it did have an elevated level of salinity and some colour from time to time.
SA Water is now turning its attention to other regional towns to keep the momentum flowing.
There are a number of towns in this part of the state that we'd like to work with the local community and improve the water quality.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a Port Pirie local shines at the Special Olympics and all the action from the weekend's horse racing. Hello again. Bullaroo Centre District School is proving that love conquers all after students formed a giant heart on the school's oval. It was a united effort by students taking action against bullying and harassment.
Raising the bar on bullying prevention. Students from Bullaroo Centre District School uniting to put an end to harassment as part of a National Day of Action against bullying and violence.
Our main hope is to take away the sense of teamwork, that we can all work together to prevent bullying.
Despite the school's humble size, students believe bullying is a prevalent issue that needs addressing.
Take a stand against bullying in our school. We may be a little school, but there is still aspects of bullying.
It was a big spectacle for the small Mid-North area school, with students from across all years participating in the day-long event.
A positive attitude definitely stems from days like today, especially because we're not focusing on the negatives.
The centrepiece of the day, a giant heart marked out on the oval by the entire school. Filmed from above by local student and drone enthusiast Sonia Zanker.
There's been lots of positive responses. Students have been really enthusiastic to get involved.
For students, the take-home message was clear.
Putting our school first, making sure that everyone's having a good time at school, no one's getting bullied and everyone's enjoying themselves.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln's Runaway Brides hosted their annual fundraiser yesterday as the group kicks off its 12th year participating in the Variety Bash. The ladies in white aiming to fundraise a mammoth target of $100,000.
They were hoping to have the luck of the Irish on their side, as the Runaway Brides aim to fundraise their biggest target yet.
We've set ourselves the challenge of raising $100,000 for kids this year, so our fundraising efforts are going into full overdrive this season.
It's the third year the Brides have taken over the beer garden to raise money for the special cause. Boss bride Emma Pedler says the venue has been a great supporter for the ladies in white.
Kindly donated 2 kegs of Salty Session, which they've coloured green for us today, and it's $10 a donation per beer, and all the proceeds go to the Kids of Variety SA.
This is the 3rd year that we've had the brides come in and do this St Patrick's Day fundraiser. It's always lots of fun.
The group aiming to help local families with sick kids by providing grants for specialised equipment.
To build swimming pools for their backyard for hydrotherapy, to give them car access for wheelchairs so that they can travel as a family.
The bride's continuing to fundraise with plans to host a Lock Ladies Day on March 30.
Where we raise money all year for Variety South Australia, special needs kids in our own state.
You can support the brides in the lead up to this year's Variety Bash by visiting their Facebook page. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Pirie's very own Kelly Matthew has been making her mark at this year's Special Olympics World Summer Games in Abu Dhabi. The local athlete did her town proud, successfully taking home gold in Group 10 pin bowling. Last night, Kelly managed to also win silver in the singles tournament. Kelly was able to compete thanks to a number of community fundraising events, making her dream become a reality. It was a full day of fashion and racing as the Eyre Peninsula gathered for the 106th annual Kimber Cup. The premier event had some tough competition on and off the field, with fashion at the races showcasing the glamour of the day. First-time racegoers enjoying the event, hoping for a win.
I'm not that good at the bet, but I'm going to go for number 2.
And who's number 2?
I don't know number 2, but I'm going to go for number 2. That's my lucky number.
It was all eyes on race 7, with punters hoping Lady Conquistador would take home a double win following her victory at the Port Lincoln Cup. But in a close finish, it was Bramfield who came away with the win, ridden by jockey Todd Pannell. And still on racing, in Broken Hill, thousands of locals and visitors flocked through the gates, making the 54th annual St Pat's race meeting an overwhelming success, with many counting on the luck of the Irish on the day.
It's back and better than ever. By the busload, they came in. Hundreds of racegoers hoping the luck of the Irish was on their side. Broken Hill trainers had no luck on the track, all 8 races being taken out by those visiting. While some races had thin fields, that wasn't the case in the fashions. An endless parade of style from the girls and guys, making life tricky for the judges. Lucy Bright was Miss Teenager, while Luke May was Paddy of the course. Yvette Pomeroy from Baronga was the 2019 Colleen of the course, doing research in advance.
The competition up here is so tough, and there's beautiful designer clothes that the women wear, so I knew I needed to be, top of my game.
Ainsley Bailey was the most stylish lady, and Deanna Spicer won the Millinery Award for her fascinator.
I've been following this milliner for quite some time, and I really liked her work, so I just approached her and asked her to create this for me to match my dress.
The day's major race, the Outback Cup, was taken out by Owl on the Prow, the horse trained and owned by Jordan Frew from Murray Bridge.
I was a little bit worried in the corner when they came around and tackled him, but he fought back. He's a very tough horse.
Organisers hope to see even more race goers in 2020. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. How Central Whyalla claimed their 4th cricket grand final win, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Welcome back. Turning to cricket now, and Central Whyalla are once again the best in the city. The reigning champions defeated Rapina on Saturday to take out their 4th premiership in a row. John Hunt joins us now, and John, once again Centrals were just too good.
They were, Casey. This was the Roosters' 19th grand final in a row, and their experience showed throughout the day. Captain Scott Collison led with both bat and ball as Centrals overcame their arch rivals. Batting first, Central's lost opener Josh Ackland early on for 5. Brad Smith and Jared Dunbar steadied the ship as they passed 50. However, both were dismissed around the same time, leaving them 3 for 69. Scott Collison, however, steadied the ship with a game-high 46 runs in a mature batting display. Some late lower-order hitting proved crucial as they reached 159 from their 50 overs. Roos suffered a blow early on, losing both openers cheaply. While a news medalist Nathan Van Eck Cochrane joined them soon after, with Rapina and Trubwit 3 for 33. Greg Feebeck and Will Lynch fought hard but couldn't capitalise on their starts. Some late hitting from captain Dale Chenoweth and Nick Johns tightened the game up in the end, but it was to no avail. Rapina were all out for 115, 45 runs short of the target. Central's Daniel Marinkovic says he was confident they'd made a defendable total.
I thought as long as it was past 120 at least, we were in with a pretty good chance, and proved to be true. Everyone was bowling on the spot. Everyone each done their part, and that's what got us over the line in the end.
Turning to Port Lincoln now, and it was preliminary final weekend. Tasmans are through to the decider after a close win over Todd River. 46 from Andrew Frick helped Tassie post a competitive 8 for 204 from their 50 overs. Todd River was 7 for 190, closing in on the total, before losing their last 3 wickets for nothing in a heartbreaking finish. So the Central dynasty continues to grow. Congratulations to them on yet another premiership. It's also finals time across a number of other sports, and we'll bring you those results tomorrow night.
Thanks, John, and time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Casey. Another sunny day over the region today. Port Augusta 37, Whyalla 31, Port Lincoln 24, Broken Hill and Port Pirie 33, Adelaide 31. A high-pressure system centred over the southern Tasman Sea will continue to extend a ridge over waters to the south of South Australia until the end of next week. On the waters tomorrow, southerly winds tending southwesterly at up to 20 knots, with seas to 1.5 metres. The sun will rise at 20 past 7, with sunset due at 7:34 in the evening. And we're expecting partly cloudy conditions tomorrow. Port Augusta 33, Whyalla 28, Port Lincoln 25, Coffin Bay 22, Woodner 32, Corn 34, Broken Hill 35, Port Pirie and Clare 31, Cleve 26, Kadina 29. And we've got more fine and partly cloudy days ahead. Port Lincoln 26 on Wednesday, 27 Thursday and Friday, Cleve 27 on Wednesday, 29 Thursday and Friday, Woodner some sun on Wednesday 33, Thursday 35. Whyalla fine on Wednesday with a maximum of 28, up to 30 Thursday and Friday. Port Augusta sunny and 33 on Wednesday, Thursday partly cloudy and 35, Kadina 29 on Wednesday. Port Pirie sunny on Wednesday, 31 degrees, Thursday 33, much the same for Clare. Broken Hill sunny and 35 on Wednesday, 36 on Thursday. And that's all for today's weather. Casey, back to you.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.